Okay, I'd like to make a review on my Seiko Turtle. This is about approximately 1 year and 3 months after ownership. When I got this watch, I wore it for basically 3 months straight, and then after that, I've been rotating it with a collection of other watches that I have. So, basically, in short, this is an excellent, excellent watch. It's one of my favorite watches. This is the Japan version, as you can see on the dial, made in Japan, and on the bottom there, if you see, made in Japan. So, as far as I can tell, there's not a lot of difference beside the markings that say made in Japan with versus the Malaysian made version. The only reason I bought this is because this was my first Seiko, and at the time I really wanted a Japanese watch, and for me, it had to be made in Japan. Slightly petty, but that's kind of, that's how it is. That's how I wanted it to be. So, first of all, I'll mention the price. This price was approximately $350 US. I'm in Canada, so I bought it for Canadian dollars, so that's the approximate adjustment. So I bought this watch on eBay. It came from Hong Kong, and I purchased it from a non-authorized dealer, I think, because I did not get a warranty card. So first, I'd like to talk about the design of the watch. As you can see, this watch has a cushion case. It's very retro in style. When I got this watch, I saw the color, and the color is what blew me away. Now, there's a lot of different colors of this watch. There's orange, there's gold PVD versions, there's black, there's Save the Oceans, Patties, Pepsi, etc. So there's a lot of different colors. But for me, this was by far and away the best color. I like black watches typically. So for me, this was a standout. I love the gold writing on the dial where it says Seiko Prospects Divers 200 meter. This is a certified diver, by the way. And as well as the gold on the bezel. There's also gold around the applied indices, as you can see there, as well as the hands and the second hand. Very nice. Date change as well. The dial is quite simple. It's very Seiko. The indices are very large and easy to see. They're applied. However, where it says Seiko and Prospex Automatic, all that is just printed in gold text. Also has a chapter ring. On this version, the chapter ring and the bezel line up pretty good. I'm not sure if that's because this is the Japanese-made version. I've never, like my SKX does not line up perfectly. However, this and my Monster do, and my Monster is Malaysian-made. So that's, I'm not sure if the Japanese version makes it so that it ensures you will have lined up chapter ring and bezel. The lume, of course, is amazing. Seiko Lumibrite is excellent. It puts all lume to shame. This thing is like a torch in the dark. You can kind of put it up against something like this, and you can see the light reflecting off of this. It's better than basically any lume I've ever had. The case, as you can see, is polished on the side, not signed on the crown. Circular brushing around the cushion style case with a polished and brushed bracelet. It's fairly simply done. It's classic. It's really good looking. The case in the back has the Seiko Tsunami as well as various laser etched writing on the back. Pretty simple overall. The case dimensions I'll put up on the side. It's a pretty big watch. On the wrist, the watch wears pretty big. I have a 7¼ inch wrist. So as far as Seiko goes, this is one of the larger Prospex divers. Seiko Transocean is bigger, measurements-wise. The Samurai is similar, but basically, as far as I can tell, all other Seikos are smaller. My SKX is smaller. The Monster is smaller. This thing wears quite large, so if you're concerned about a watch being too big, and you have a smaller wrist, this might not be the one for you. It's rather tall, but I can absorb it quite well. I'm a bigger guy, so I'm 6'1". I have a muscular build, and so bigger watches on my arms don't look as bad, as large as it potentially looks right in the camera like this. So overall, I think the look is good, but keep in mind it is a larger watch. The bezel has an aluminum insert. It's very nice to turn. It's quite it's quite solid feeling. It's got this odd Seiko movement where, you know, it doesn't really, it's soft to turn, if that makes sense. So usually when you turn a watch, a bezel, you can hear the click, 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 click. This one is sort of, I don't know, I've heard people explain it as spongy. I think that's kind of a good way to put it. It's sort of as a, you know, it feels like you're slowly pulling an elastic band kind of thing, if that makes sense. You're not doing a action. It's sort of a, you know. So if you know, to me, I don't mind, because I mean, you can, you know, I'm not going to sit here and be irritated by how the bezel feels. But you know, if you want a clicky bezel, this watch might not be for you. But functionally, it works very well. You can time something quite easily with the bezel, and it's just perhaps not as satisfying as spinning a Oris or anything like that has a very clicky action. An Oris bezel, Fortis bezel, Rolex, anything like that, Breitling. It's just not the same. However, Seiko, to me, they always kind of feel like this. So I'd imagine if you're a Seiko fan, you kind of already know what you're getting into already. This watch has the 4R36 movement. So it's hacking, hand winding, as you can see. Pull the crown once, all the way, and it's hacking. This has a date change. It has a primary and secondary language, depending on where you live, I suppose. Mine has Arabic. So I thought it would have Japanese or maybe Roman numerals. Or sometimes these have Spanish. I've seen German, I think, French as well. Mine is Arabic. I don't know why, but hey, it's kind of cool. Unfortunately, I don't know how to read Arabic. But it's a cool feature nonetheless. Screw-in crown. Everything works very well. For me, the crown is a little small. I got pretty big hands, so sometimes I have a little bit of trouble using the crown. But overall, it's really easy. Accuracy-wise, this movement's pretty good. It's usually fast. Mine around +4 to +7. I haven't been the most accurate done that most accurate measurements. However, generally it's good enough for me. I'll usually wear a watch for like a week and then switch to something else. So that's kind of the accuracy you can expect, although perhaps other people's watches will have more deviation. But this one is quite good, so I'm happy with it. The bracelet of this watch it's not the most expensive. There's solid end links. However, most of it is stamped, as you can see. That being said, Seiko stamped products fit and work excellent. Look at how tight that is. You see, like micro brand watches, you know, when they have a stamped bracelet, you know, for instance, an Aragon, but they don't fit together quite as well. This, despite the cheap materials, it fits together excellent and functions very well. Very comfortable, no problems. It also has a dive extension. Seiko dive extensions like this are not my favorite. They're a little bit annoying to use, but you know, I don't use them really. So to use it, I don't really have any fingernails. You push it down like that, then it unhooks from there, and it's out. And to put it back, you simply hook it on, and there you go. The bracelet's pretty comfortable. It has pins and collars to size, which makes it quite tight. It fits together very well. However, I had a watchmaker adjust this because I don't trust my skill in adjusting the bracelet. I was worried I'd, you know, maybe damage the side links or something, like the links on the sides, like, or something. So I got him to adjust it for me, which was very, very good. Overall, the bracelet's very comfortable. It works well. I think it looks pretty good, and I'm happy with it. The only critiques I have of this watch are, I guess, two. I wish that it had a milled bracelet, but it seems like, you know, as Seiko fans, that's something we kind of just deal with. We sort of accept that Seiko does that because we love the watches so much. I don't know if perhaps they feel like they can get away with it, but a lot of watches at this price point micro brands, for instance, even glycines you can get around this price point do have a milled bracelet, or a milled clasp, I should say. So that would be something I'd like to see on this watch. My other complaint is that I feel like the brushing on the bracelet does not quite match the case. This has circular brushing like this, and then this is completely down, and it's not quite the same color. This is a little different shade of brushing, if that makes sense. So it doesn't quite look cohesive to me. But I mean, that's a really, really nitpicky thing to critique. A lot of watches do that, but I just feel like at this price point, I would expect something to match a little bit better in terms of how it's brushed. And maybe I wish too that the crown was stamped with the Seiko logo. But really, I mean, that really has a very, very little effect on how the watch works, how I like it. And so, basically for me, any other critiques of this watch would be subjective, like the size. People complain in the watch community about size all the time, and just drone on and on and on about it. So this watch might be a little bit too big for you if you are one of those types that is bothered by watches that are large, because this one is fairly large. Just for reference, here is the SKX, the Monster, and the Turtle. For me, it seems like the case sizes are what make the difference. Like, the dials are fairly similar. However, because the Turtle has the cushion case on it, as you can see there, it sticks out. Whereas these two don't stick out quite as much. It makes the Turtle feel bigger. I mean, honestly, it feels bigger because it is bigger. But it feels a decent amount bigger than the Monster or the SKX. The Monster, for me at least, wears very small, so it might be hard to tell the difference just because this one's PVD coated, but trust me, the Turtle is bigger. Overall, I'm a huge fan of the Seiko Turtle. I love the color on this watch. That's what set me off on it the first time. I saw this black and gold color. That really does it for me. One of my favorite guitars is a Gibson guitar that's black and gold, a Gibson Les Paul. So maybe that's where my fascination started with this color combination. But it's a really great color combination. I've taken this watch to do a lot of things. I've taken it hiking. I've taken it to the coast. I've taken it out to casual dinners. Pretty much anything. Where I live, really no one pays attention to your watch unless it's like some ginormous gold tractor tire of a watch. But something like this, I don't think people would really notice it too much. It's bigger, but I mean, at the end of the day, no one really looks at the watches unless they're a watch person. So this is an excellent watch. I really recommend people checking one of these out if they're into it. To me, as a Seiko fan, it's a must-have. At least in this lower tier Pro Specs range, it's great. So, I recommend the Turtle. It's one of my favorite watches. I'll never sell this watch. I'm not a serial flipper anyway, so I don't really sell that much of my watches unless you really buy something and don't like it. But overall, this is an excellent piece. It really scratches that Seiko itch for me. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.